This is my fourth time trying to record this video. The first time, I recorded in portrait mode because I thought I was going to do this as a short, until I realized that it was a little too long to justify a short. The second time I was going to do it, there was way too much glare in my glasses, which is already a problem with that in videos anyway, but it was just too much for me to want to deal with this time. And the third time I tried recording? So, yeah. Also, side note, if I had to hazard a guess as to where Oscar's aunt's farm is, it's somewhere east of Mistral, because he meets with Hazel, who is coming from Salem, and I doubt that he would have gone east all the way across Remnant. So, let's try this again. Problem. I'm still trying to piece together how long Cinder spends underwater versus in recovery after the events of Volume 5. She doesn't step into town looking for Little Miss Malachite until a month after the events. I've already deduced that based on various bits of dialogue, but I've just recently noticed that in fact they actually show a news broadcast of them looking for the bad guys, and it says last seen approximately a month ago. So, yes, they were keeping pretty good track of the timeline while writing Volume 6. Solution. Water beneath Haven's vault has trickled and pooled there from Light's domain and given Cinder some additional form of life empowerment. I don't think it's on the same level as Salem's by any means, but I think it's something more than normal. How did Cinder survive freezing? Well, that one's easy. Raven survived freezing not long before she froze Cinder in retaliation. I feel like a normal Remnant person probably wouldn't be able to handle being frozen solid like that without some kind of lingering issues. But they're both maidens, so they're a cut above the rest. Where is Light's domain? Well, my theory for a long time has been that Light's domain is actually Lake Matsu. The moon being shattered by darkness, all of its debris came crashing down on and around Salem, and that would have eventually caused a giant crater that through all the time since then would have filled up with rainwater and created a giant lake. See Crater Lake. Additionally, I think the gravity dust islands are a result of the moon. How would the water get from there to Haven? This is a very simple answer. It becomes groundwater, but this does raise a few other questions. The rocks that fell onto Light's domain would have pushed that water underground, and I don't necessarily know that the rain wouldn't have diluted it a bit, but I imagine that it would, along with combining with other groundwater as it moves all the way to Haven. And just so we're clear, Haven Academy is not built on top of Light's domain. Haven Academy is on a mountain. Now, there are definitely higher areas caused by the crater, but those are to the outside of the crater, not where the rocks actually fell. That's where the bottom of the crater is. So, the lake is the crater, the mountain is not the crater, and it's too far away for it to be a mountain that was caused by the crater. It's not part of the mountain range that would surround Lake Matsu, essentially. How has it not affected anybody else? For one, I don't even know that the water is what causes immortality. I don't know if it's the water itself, or if light has to be involved. We know that darkness's pools don't need darkness around to operate, but light is a much stricter person whenever it comes to following the rules, so that is a factor that is against this, but whatever. If it is the water, however, I'm not even remotely saying that nobody else is affected by it. It's not only possible, but probable that somebody else has drank this water that makes you live forever. But because it's so diluted from the pure light immortality, Fountain of Youth style water, I can't imagine that it did anything more than just extend their life by a few years at most. As such, I don't think that it would be enough to give them what I am theorizing Cinder to have, and damn sure not enough to give them what Salem has. Side note, the first scene that we see with Oscar, he's pumping water from a well. He's pumping out groundwater, and he lives in Anima. Not that he's drank that water, but he's also tied to an immortal, and I thought that was kind of interesting how that timing worked. Now, what would the point be in this? Well, from a practical standpoint, it would finally give me an explanation for what happened in this scene. And between volumes, that has been kind of annoying me ever since I started thinking about the timeline. She was frozen solid. Now, I don't know what your experience is with thawing out food, but thawing out just a small amount of food takes a long time. Cinder and I are the same height. We're both 5'10". Imagine having to thaw out a whole person that's 5'10". It's gonna take a while, even underwater. Now, would it take that long? I don't think that it would take that amount of time, but it would account for Cinder being able to be alive for the amount of time that it takes for her to thaw out. And then, once she's thawed out, she can crawl out and start the recovery process that takes the rest of the amount of time up until she's up and walking around normally. Then there's a thematic purpose to this. Cinder is always trying to be Salem Light. She's actually just trying to be Salem, but she can't be Salem, so she's stuck being Salem Light. And that's what she's trying to be. She's always trying to be the next step up in power, essentially. Essentially is not a word. Essentially. So giving her some semblance of Salem's immortality would fit with the way that Cinder's character has been handled throughout the series. Additionally, they reveal that Cinder is alive underwater in the episode right before the Lost Fable, which is when Salem falls into the water and gains immortality. I feel like that's a little bit more than coincidence. So there's the Cinder life theory. This was a pain. It's going to be a pain to edit too. It's always a pain to edit, and it was a pain to record, which normally is the easy part. Anyway, do all that YouTube algorithm stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Discord's in the description down below if you want to come over there and hang out. There's a subreddit now too that I kind of keep forgetting about because it's so new. But yeah, till next time, I will see you when I see you. If I bleed